Shaquille, and Clint. Welcome, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me here tonight.
Hi.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for coming back, Clint. It's been a while.
I'm back.
So, you all dug deep in putting in some real work into your marriage on tonight's episode. How does it feel seeing your spouse's vulnerable side?
You know, it's nice to be able to share that, with somebody and just open up and be honest and kick that door down, Sometimes you have inhibitions and you're like, you don't want to share everything. But in a marriage, you want to set the precedent of being as forthright as possible.
I'm proud of you. You've been sharing a lot. You've been very vulnerable, these last couple episodes. How about you, Shaq?
I'm glad to see Kirsten is breaking down these walls. It's really a great thing to see.
Oh, yeah, y'all break down some walls this episode. So, Jasmine.
I feel like Eris has been kind of emotionally unavailable to me for a lot of this process. So for him to open up a little bit more and him to dive deep with some of the questions that we asked each other, I was happy with that.
I feel like you shut down on him a little bit now. But we'll get into that. On tonight's episode, you guys sat down with Dr. Pepper to reveal your vulnerabilities. So tonight's signature cocktail is called the Secret Slinger. Signature, you guys sing the clink, 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 clink. I see y'all do that all the time.
She started
That's a Jasmine thing. It's been contagious the whole season.
Okay.
So every time we take drinks, we'll take a shot.
Well, let's get started. So, Clint, you and Gina are working on building chemistry. But in order to do that, you have to get on the same page with communication. Take a look at this clip.
I've been in relationships to where somebody had a false persona for 3 years. So that's important to me to really, build that trust.
It's just going to take me some time to want to initiate. So to hear a soft story of this is what I did in my childhood, to me that wasn't or doesn't feel like conversation that would lead into deeper conversation.
So if he asked something very specific.
Yeah, I'm totally fine, but I think it would have to be specific and initiated.
That just doesn't feel organic to me. It feels like I'm doing a Q&A session.
So what happened with this relationship? How did the person you were dating stick around for 3 whole years?
We had a good relationship starting off. We had dogs and stuff together and then bought a house together and all that good stuff. And we were just on this path of courtship and leading up to marriage. And then she said she had a calling one day and she said...
Wait, time out. She had a calling?
Yeah, she had a calling.
Okay. Who called her?
From a higher power.
What did they say?
Well, they said that she needed to be a midwife and move to Colorado, and then she felt like she wasn't being true to herself, and ultimately it didn't work out.
So wait, did she go to Colorado?
I think she ended up going to Hawaii.
But she didn't listen to the calling, it sounds like.
I know. Yeah, I don't know. She got the lines miscrossed
So
when
is
they
she
were
a
plugging them in. I think she turned into a nurse, so got kind of the way there.
Okay. So in what ways have you noticed Gina's hesitation when it comes to vulnerability?
There's just a real reluctancy to just share stuff in general, right? The one thing that baffles me is Gina and I are both communicators. We're both talkers and we've never had an issue. And then all of a sudden when we try to get into the deep stuff, there's we have differentiating communication styles. So we're speaking French and Spanish. Let's find a way to make the words similar.
Shaquille, do you have any advice for Clint? Because I feel like sometimes you and Kirsten are speaking different languages too.
I think you have to actively listen to the person other than listening to respond. And that's what I had to learn with Kirsten. Let me process what she's actually saying without giving my hesitation of, well, this is how I feel. You need to communicate for me to understand.
Jasmine, what do you think of Clint's approach or hesitation to Gina's communication style?
It's just we're in a marriage, and so there's compromise, and so there's a way you communicate, there's a way she communicates, but y'all have to figure out y'all's way of communicating.
Yeah.
I'm going to shift to you, Clint. I noticed that when you were talking to Dr. Pepper, Gina said about you coming into her room.
We have grown a lot in the last couple of weeks. Like she'll come into my room at night, Hank's in there, and she'll sit on the floor and we'll just sit there and talk.
Keyword, Hank's in there.
I gather that you have fallen in love with her dog.
Oh, yeah.
So to